Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the high-octane world of Formula One. Specifically, that exhilarating, sometimes bewildering class of 2025 rookies.
Yeah, what really makes a newcomer stand out in F1? Is it just raw pace or, surprising consistency? Or maybe just handling those sky-high expectations?
It's a great question, and it seems to shift depending on the driver, their car, their team, all sorts of things.
Absolutely. So our mission in this deep dive is to give you a comprehensive, kind of no-holds-barred look at the first half of the 2025 F1 rookie season.
And we've dug through a load of sources, right? Including lots of analysis from various F1 blog articles.
Exactly. The goal is to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts, and help you get properly informed on who the real standouts are and maybe who's struggling a bit more than expected.
Okay, and right off the bat, we have to tackle something a bit tricky. Just defining what a rookie is. It's actually quite a controversial point in F1 circles.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we started looking at this class, the first sort of hurdle was deciding who actually counts. Liam Lawson, for example.
Right. A lot of people might think of him as a rookie this year.
They might, but we excluded him from this specific list. By the midway point this season, he's actually done a full season's worth of races, 23 Grand Prix in total.
Ah, okay.
And while apparently even Lawson himself felt he was still a rookie, especially at new tracks, learning the ropes.
Yeah.
For our analysis here, that level of experience just pushed him outside that traditional newcomer bracket.
Gotcha. Makes sense. But then Franco Colapinto is on our list, and he raced 9 times last year. How does that work?
Well, the key difference, as the sources highlighted, is how he got that experience. Colapinto's prior F1 time was really minimal, just one FP1 session, an Abu Dhabi test.
So not sustained running like Lawson had.
Exactly. Those 9 races last year were kind of a one-off batch, not part of a full campaign buildup.
Yeah.
So effectively, he's facing his first full F1 season in 2025. It's arbitrary. Yeah, these definitions can be.
A bit fuzzy.
A bit fuzzy, definitely. But drawing the line there allows for, I think, a more interesting discussion about drivers really hitting F1 properly for the first time.
Okay, let's dive into the drivers then. First up, KIMI Antonelli. I mean, when Toto Wolff calls someone the new Verstappen and puts him straight into Lewis Hamilton's seat, wow.
Yeah, talk about pressure. Sky-high expectations doesn't even cover it.
Yeah.
Stepping into a top team like Mercedes with that kind of hype, almost unimaginable for a rookie.
And the core insight here, based on the analysis, is quite strange, isn't it? That he seems to do better on tracks he doesn't know.
It's fascinating, paradoxical even. The next Verstappen shines brightest where you'd least expect it, suggesting maybe the weight of expectation on familiar ground is actually his biggest hurdle right now.
So let's talk performance versus hype, first half of the season. Has he actually delivered on that massive buildup?
Flat out, no, not really. I mean, he leads the rookies in points, which is something, but his performance overall has been decent rather than, truly outstanding.
And that Canada podium, 3rd place, that was great, obviously, but
it's only points finished in the last 6 events. That's quite a drop-off after what seemed like a pretty promising start, actually.
Yeah, the early reports mentioned him building a good foundation. Bahrain, Saudi, Japan looked good. He seemed to be closing the gap to George Russell. What went wrong?
Well, the analysis suggests he did build confidence. He had that strong start, especially impressing, like you said, at new tracks like Miami. He was quick straight away there, but then he just hasn't kicked on from there.
Stalled.
Yeah, stalled is a good word. There have been regressions, and he's even admitted himself something like nothing seems to really be working at the moment, which obviously raises some concerns.
Like maybe being too cautious, trying too hard not to make mistakes.
That's definitely one theory floated in the sources. Talk of him being deliberately conservative. And once you get into that mindset, it can be really, really hard to break out of it.
Toto Wolff mentioned the team overthinking things at Silverstone, too. Maybe that applies to Antonelli.
It feels like it could, yeah. And then there's the raw pace deficit to Russell. That's quite big. It's a 11-1 to Russell in their qualifying head-to-head.
11-1. Wow.
And the average gap is around 0.3 to 0.35 seconds. For someone billed as the next Verstappen, that is a notable gap to his teammate.
So the big question then was putting him straight into Mercedes, plunging him in at the deep end. Was it just a little bit too much too soon?
It's a valid question. Making mistakes and learning lessons is tough when you're under that kind of intense spotlight. Compare it to how Williams kept Russell for a few years, maybe even too long, some argued, but it let him learn away from the Mercedes glare.
Right. Antonelli doesn't have that luxury.
Yo, he's learning on the biggest stage possible. And what's really, really fascinating and quite unexpected from the sources is that observation we mentioned earlier. He's been most impressive at tracks he doesn't know well or has minimal experience at. Japan, Canada, Miami.
And struggled more back in Europe on tracks he presumably knows better.
Exactly. It's counterintuitive. Maybe, like you hinted, less pressure, less preconceived ideas about how the car should feel, allowing him to just drive it.
Definitely something for you listening to think about. Okay, let's shift gears. Ollie Bearman at Haas. How do the sources sum up his season so far?
Ollie Bearman, fast but erratic. That's the headline. He definitely has higher peaks than Antonelli, like sheer speed-wise. But he's also made some, frankly, very basic rookie errors. He's undeniably quick, but those mistakes, they've really cost him points in track position.
Yeah, the reports mentioned grid penalties in 2 of the last 4 races before the break, Monaco, and that FP3 shunt at Silverstone, which was called no excuse.
Right. Plus the FP2 crash in Melbourne early on, another misjudgment in an FP3. Yeah, he's kind of been his own worst enemy at times this season. Probably underachieved slightly, given that pace.
Okay, but let's talk about that pace. It is there, right?
Oh, absolutely. The pure pace is undeniable. The analysis suggests he's quite clearly quicker than his teammate Esteban Ocon, maybe by 0.1 to 0.15 seconds when they both put it together.
And that apparently ruffled Ocon's feathers a bit.
It seems so. The reports say that pace surprised Ocon and, quote, sent Ocon a little bit loopy, meaning, frustrated him, put him off his game sometimes.
So the speed's definitely real, but the execution sometimes lacking. Are these problems fixable, do you think, based on the analysis?
The sources strongly suggest they are. And what's really crucial with Bearman is his resilience. He seems to bounce back from these mistakes pretty quickly. They don't seem to bleed into the next session or race, which is a great sign.
So they don't feel like fundamental flaws.
Exactly. They feel like rookie errors, things he can iron out, which suggests his ceiling is potentially very high. Yes, Ocon has way more points, 23 to Bearman's 6, but if you look at the sort of Class B results, midfield only, Bearman's often been closer to the points than those headline numbers show.
Right, which brings up that classic F1 saying, it's easier to calm down a fast driver than speed up a reliable one. That seems to fit Bearman versus, say, Antonelli's current situation quite well.
It really does. And Bearman has shown he can get up to speed quickly in the Haas, adapting, well, both when the car was tricky early on and after the Silverstone upgrade. And apparently, he hasn't been complaining publicly like Ocon.
That adaptability, not blaming the tools, that's a big plus.
Huge positive for a rookie, yeah.
Okay, from Bearman's raw speed, let's turn to someone who seems to have defied expectations. ISACK HADJAR at Racing Bulls. He's got a decent haul of points, 21, best of P6 in Monaco, but the talk was Red Bull didn't rate him that highly initially.
Yes, some of the F1 blog articles definitely hinted he was almost promoted by accident, that Red Bull didn't have massive faith to begin with. But wow, has he delivered a really, really strong start.
That P6 in Monaco, that stands out.
Super impressive. And even back in Melbourne, the first race, being only a 10th off Tsunoda in Q1, that was a statement. Then he hit that consistent run. 4 Q3 appearances in a row from Imola to Canada.
So 6 Q3s out of 12 races overall, that's solid.
Very solid. He seems to be doing pretty much the maximum you could expect from him in that Racing Bulls car, which is generally seen as quite benign and user-friendly. Easier to get on top of, maybe.
And what about his mental side? That was supposedly a question mark before the season.
That's where he's really impressed, actually. Bouncing back from that really humbling formation lap spin in Australia.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Overcoming physical discomfort in Japan Q1 to absolutely nail his lap. And even hitting the wall twice in Monaco FD2, but still going on to get his best result of the season. That shows real mental strength. He could take a hit, learn from it, and deal with it. Even
the more recent off-boil moments in Austria and Silverstone, there were reasons, right? Damage, tricky conditions.
Exactly. Mitigating circumstances, damage in Austria and Silverstone. Right. Well, making a mistake in heavy spray, you can understand that. And even then, the analysis showed he was immediately back to having that slight edge, maybe 0.1, 0.2 seconds, over Lawson in the data. He was just on it pretty much from the first practice sessions, despite having the least F1 experience of anyone here.
Really strong showing then. Okay, let's wade into, well, what seems like a bit of a mess. The Alpine conundrum. The team's struggles seem to have created a horrible situation for both rookies they've run this year, Franco Colapinto and Jack Doohan.
Yeah, horrible is probably fair. Alpine seems like arguably the most troubled team on the grid right now. And throwing rookies into that,
yeah,
it's brutal. And we need to talk about Colapinto again here, just to reiterate why he counts as a rookie despite those 9 races last year.
Because the prior experience was so minimal before this season.
Exactly. Minimal testing, minimal relevant running. He's effectively a rookie facing an almost impossible task this year.
And the sources list a whole load of disadvantages for him, right? Missing proper preseason testing, running on weird tires in practice, inheriting a very stiff 2025 car that's totally different from the Williams he drove last year.
It's a laundry list.
Yeah.
Just makes it so much harder to get comfortable and up to speed. And then, to make matters worse, the team apparently told him he needed to start scoring points, basically immediately.
Wow. In that car, even Pierre Gasly, a race winner, struggled initially.
Precisely. It's a borderline impossible ask for a rookie. He has shown some promise. Canada was maybe his best weekend overall, but he hasn't delivered those points, and there have been a few sort of silly crashes under pressure. Imola qualifying, Silverstone Q1.
You feel the pressure's getting to him.
The analysis suggests it's like that sword of Damocles hanging over him, just immense, constant pressure, making it hard for him to drive the kind of freedom he showed in that brief Williams run last year.
And then there's Jack Doohan, benched after just 6 races. How do the sources compare his situation to Colapinto's?
Fundamentally, they're inseparable. Both thrown into a really, really difficult job, almost undermined from the start by the team's situation.
But Doohan maybe showed a bit more potential in his short run.
Arguably, yes. The reports suggest he showed more often little flashes. He seemed closer to Gasly on pace than maybe people realized, even out-qualified him in Miami.
But he made mistakes too. Australia lap 1, Japan practice crash, that Miami lap 1 tangle.
He did. But the argument in the analysis is, given the incredibly short sample size, just 6 races, and the difficulty of the car and team situation, maybe he should have been allowed those mistakes.
A fair point. So the conclusion is Doohan was probably better than people gave him credit for.
Yeah, likely better than credited, and his 6-race stint was probably, overall, a bit stronger than what we've seen from Colapinto so far, given the circumstances.
Yeah.
Tough break for both of them, really.
Definitely. Okay, last driver before we rank them. Gabriel Bortoleto at Sauberkick. Probably the lowest profile rookie, wouldn't you say? But maybe doing better than we think.
Absolutely, the lowest profile. And yes, doing much better than most people probably realize. You look at the points. Hulkenberg 37, Bortoleto 4. It looks like a demolition.
It really does. Not flattering at all.
But it absolutely does not tell the whole story. Don't let those points fool you.
Yeah.
Dig into the performance data, especially qualifying. And it's a revelation.
Okay, how so?
His qualifying head-to-head with Hulkenberg, basically identical. It's 7-7 across the 14 sessions counted so far.
7 against Hulkenberg. That's seriously impressive.
It really is. And the average gap is tiny, only 0.04 seconds in Hulkenberg's favor. Bortoleto even out-qualified him at Silverstone after making a mistake in FP3. It shows he's been pretty quick right from the start.
So the one-lap pace is definitely there. Why haven't the race results followed as much?
Yeah, the race performances have been more up and down. Often it seems like he's just been on the wrong side of things strategically. Split strategies that didn't work out for him.
Spain was mentioned as an example.
Spain's a perfect example. Hulkenberg got points, but Bortoleto was on the less favorable strategy. Reports say he absolutely should have been there in the points too. He has put in some decent race drives, though, and seems to be growing in confidence as the car improves.
And what about his approach, his maturity? I saw him described as 20 going on 35 in a good way.
Huh. Yeah, that sums it up well. It means he's got this really strong self-awareness. He's incredibly frank about his own performance. Like after Austria, where he got P8, he openly admitted he should have beaten Alonso and that Fernando outthought me with a DRS line.
Taking responsibility, learning.
Exactly. He talks about wanting to be the most complete driver, focusing on adaptability, not just being fast when the car is perfect. He's actively learning from Hulkenberg, too, mentioning Nico's clarity on tires and practice plans, like a real student of the game.
That sounds familiar. Reminds me of another recent rookie standout.
It draws a really strong comparison to Oscar Piastri's rookie year, doesn't it? Similar sort of quiet confidence, similar question marks coming out of juniors despite success, similar feedback from the teams, and that same trajectory. Okay, the speed's there, but can he consistently piece it together in races?
Quietly effective seems like the perfect description. Don't sleep on Bortoleto.
Definitely not.
Okay, the moment of truth has arrived. This is always tough, comparing drivers in such different cars, different situations. Let's do our final ranking of the 2025 F1 rookie class at the halfway stage. Who's the star rookie so far? Let's count down from 6.
All right, in 6th place, look, it has to be Franco Colapinto. It's a clear 6th, unfortunately. Despite a few flashes, his struggles adapting to that Alpine, the pressure, not getting the points, it puts him here. Just a really tough situation.
Understood. Which means Jack Doohan is 5th. He just shades Colapinto, as the analysis put it.
Yeah, Doohan just shades it into 5th. He showed arguably more impressive flashes in his very short stint, seemed closer to Gasly on pace. But ultimately, he was undone by those same difficult Alpine circumstances and, crucially, only getting 6 races. His performance wasn't why he's 5th, it's the situation.
Okay. 4th place, and this might surprise some, given all the preseason hype. Kimi Antonelli.
Indeed. Antonelli comes in 4th for us right now. You can't ignore the sky-high expectations and the undeniable talent, but based purely on the first half of the season. He's been, well, very slightly underwhelming.
Still waiting for the real Antonelli to consistently show up.
Pretty much. We're still waiting for that breakthrough consistency. But, and this is important, he absolutely could be number 1 by the end of the season if things click. The potential is clearly massive. It just hasn't been fully unlocked yet.
Right. 3rd place, then, our quietly effective dark horse, Gabriel Bortoleto.
He takes 3rd, yes. His performance has been really, really unobtrusively impressive. That qualifying pace against a top benchmark like Hülkenberg is outstanding. Add in his maturity, his analytical approach, he's doing a lot better than the points suggest. A very strong showing, just maybe not grabbing the headlines.
Okay, down to the top 2. Fast but erratic BEARMAN or consistent surprise HADJAR. 2nd place goes to?
2nd place goes to OLLIE BEARMAN.
Okay, why BEARMAN?
Because that out-and-out raw pace is just so fast. It's undeniable. Yes, the rookie errors have been frustrating and costly, but his resilience shines through. And crucially, those problems feel fixable. His ceiling feels incredibly high. You'd always take that speed and try to iron out the mistakes.
Makes sense. Which means our number 1 rookie at the halfway point of the 2025 season is ISACK HADJAR.
Yes. HADJAR takes the top spot for us. He simply had the most assured start to his F1 career out of this group. He's been the most consistent performer week in, week out.
Defying those lower expectations, too.
Massively. That brilliant Q3 run, his mental strength bouncing back from setbacks, he's just put it all together the most effectively so far. Especially impressive given he had the least F1 experience coming in. A really assured debut season up to now.
What a fascinating group. That was a great deep dive into the 2025 F1 rookie class. We've seen it all. Immense pressure, defying expectations, drivers battling tough cars, others quietly getting the job done. Really diverse paths to making an impression.
And it's vital to remember, this is just a snapshot, isn't it? We're only at the halfway point. All is absolutely still to play for in the second half of the season. These rankings could look very different come Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely. Lots of potential still waiting to be realized across the board. So a final thought for you listening. What stands out to you about these rookie performances? And thinking long-term in F1, what kind of rookie do you think has the best shot? Is it the raw, potentially error-prone pace of a BEARMAN, the consistent, quiet delivery of a HADJAR, or maybe the adaptable, analytical learning approach of a Bortoleto?
Lots to think about. Keep watching the rest of the F1 season to see how these fascinating stories unfold.